Bihari Swami Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, Jai. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya, Avashtottara Shota Shri Srimad Sriyani Goswami, His Divine Grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Iskon Vartmanacharya Vrinda Ki Jai. Navacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Iskon BBT Founder Acharya, His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Prem Se Gaho Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shri Makunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Mathur Dhama Ki Jai, Navadvip Dhama Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dhama Ki Jai, Jagannath Swami Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dhama Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Yamuna Mai Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Tulasi Maharaj Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Yor, Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees, oh, glories to the assembled devotees, oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga, oh, glories to the Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Nama Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyade Shatare. Can somebody take this? Yes. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. First, we are reading Transcendental Diary. Declaring himself an avid reader of Bhagavad Gita, he enthusiastically lectured the crowd, at times sounding like an apocalyptic fundamentalist preacher, as he warned his audience to devote their time to hearing the words of great saintly persons before impending destruction, or pralaya, overtook India. We should meditate on those words, not that we hear from one ear and let it out from the other. That is not punya, piety. Just like the chief minister said, that we Indians, we are taking to their Westerners' way of life, they to ours. He said that we are losing our intelligence. I really feel that the days of pralaya are coming near. It is very, very bad. Dharma pralaya. Therefore, I request you all that when a saintly person comes to preach among us, we should take his teachings to our hearts and do some service to the humanity. And we should not deviate from Bhakti Marga. Bhakti has become a joke these days. If I started wearing saffron cloth or chanting Hare Krishna, the whole world will laugh at me. Therefore, please do not make fun of Bhakti. Do not make fun of God. This is very sinful. When someone preaches about absolute truth, both the speaker and the listener get the benefit. In the same way, when someone blasphemes, both the speaker and the listener get bad reaction. Sinful. So it's 9:14. So now reading from Chaitanya Caritamrta, Adi Lila, chapter 9, text 48. And this one sticks to the page. Ye, Yahan, Dahan, Dana, Kare, Prema Pala, Pala, Asvade, Mata, Loka, Haila, Sakala. I just came to this. First you read word by word, then you read the lines. So I just came to this now.
Okay, sorry.
Ye yahantahandana kare prema phala. Palasvade mataloka haila sakala. Ye yahantahandana kare prema phala. Palasvade mataloka haila sakala. Actually, I have a stand. How can you make it? I have a stand in my room. I'll bring it. I need the keys. It's on the table on the right. When you enter, then on the right hand side of the table. This is also okay, but if you like to use the stand, you can use it. Ye yahantahandana kare prema pala. Palasvade mataloka haila sakala. Ye yahantahandana kare prema pala. Palasvade mataloka haila sakala. Yea, anyone, Yahan, wherever, Dahan, anywhere, Dana, charity, Hare, gives in, Prema Phala, the fruit of love of Godhead, Phala, fruit, Asvade, by tasting, Mata, intoxicated, Loka, people, Haila, become, Sakala, all. So this is Caitanya caritamrta, lila, chapter 9, text 48. Translation. The fruit of love of God is so tasteful that wherever a devotee distributes it, those who relish the fruit anywhere in the world immediately become intoxicated. Purport. Here is the wonderful love of Godhead distributed by Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Here the wonderful fruit of love of Godhead distributed by Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu is described. We have practical experience that anyone who accepts this fruit and sincerely tastes it immediately becomes mad after it and gives up all his bad habits, being intoxicated by Caitanya Mahaprabhu's gift, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. The statement of Caitanya caritamrta, the statements of Caitanya caritamrta are so practical that anyone can test them. As far as we are concerned, we are most confident of the success of the distribution of the great fruit of love of Godhead through the medium of chanting of the Maha Mantra Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yeya Kanta Khandana Kare Prema Pala, Palasvade Mataloka Haila Sakala. The fruit of love of God is so tasteful that wherever a devotee distributes it, those who relish the fruit anywhere in the world immediately become intoxicated. It is my phone. It is my phone?
Yes.
I think it turned a little bit to the right. So you know how to put this? It has to be. I don't know.
I'll put it like this.
Actually, I should have started it in this position. Now I think it's.
No, it's okay. I'll manage for you.
I don't know if you can do it because it's meant to be horizontal.
Fix
Yeah, maybe. Prema Pala is what? What is Pala? Fruit, yes. Pala is fruit. Phala. So, this experience of transcendental bliss that one can get from Krishna consciousness and from chanting of the holy names of the Lord is called fruit of love of Godhead. as far as I understand. And this chapter is called, how is this chapter called, do you know? Huh? Maharaj Pritu spoke yesterday. Huh? Yes.
Tree of devotional service.
Yeah, the desire tree. The desire tree of devotional service. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful title. Sometimes, like I've been doing life coaching with devotees for so many years, and sometimes I ask devotees, so what metaphor would you use to describe coaching? And then they say different things. Or a coach also, a coach. Then they say a pyramid explorer. Pyramid explorer, he looks for treasure. So a coach always looks for the best in people, for the jewels in people. And the jewels in people are the qualities of their soul. Sachitananda. There's so many qualities of the soul, divine qualities. So sometimes it is said that coaching is like desire tree because it can help you achieve all your desires. But you have to work. It doesn't happen automatically. It can help you to actually have a clear path or plan how to achieve what you want to achieve. And now here we have this metaphor of desire, of a desire tree. It is also said every morning we offer obeisances to devotees and we say they are like desire trees. So they can fulfill all desires. So have you ever felt that you are like a desire tree for someone? Maybe somebody told you, oh my God, you help me fulfill all my desires. Maybe they say, you help me fulfill all my spiritual desires. Because maybe they came with material desires, but they saw that material desires are not appreciated so much in ISKCON and in Bhakti Yoga. So they started cultivating spiritual desires. So what devotional service is a desire tree for? I would say it's a desire tree for spiritual desires. But we see in the Bhagavatam many times repeated that you can fulfill also all your material desires. And that is confusing. And we have seen that some of the devotees still had some material desires or traces of material desires, and somehow they were fulfilled. But they were fulfilled in a way that didn't degrade them. That's very important. Because Vedas don't forbid fulfilling of desires, of even material desires, but they, how you say, enjoin, they instruct that you fulfill your desires in a certain way, in a way that will not degrade you. In a way that will not degrade you. And therefore, there is yagyas to offer. To, if one wants to achieve something, to go to the heavenly planets and enjoy. There are different processes and procedures and rituals by which one can achieve all kinds of things. And it is said, akama sarva kama va moksha kama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Whether one has desires, all material desires, or he desires liberation, or has no desires, he is desireless, he doesn't have material desires, he should engage in Tivrena Bhakti Yogena, which means intense devotional service. Tivrena Bhakti Yogena, intense devotional service. So you may ask, what is intense devotional service? Is it taking too much prasadam? When you have intensity in digesting all this prasadam? Or you may say intense devotional service means overworking and killing yourself and becoming sick. So maybe by becoming a workaholic, you can become enlightened, and you can become advanced in Krishna consciousness. Is that what we mean by Tivrena Bhakti Yogena? Or is it something else? So it is something else, and it means that you do every inch of your energy, you engage every inch of your energy in Krishna consciousness, but also follow the Bhagavad Gita's instruction to have a balance between working and recreation and sleeping and eating. And the most difficult thing is to balance, to have a balance. Don't eat too much, don't eat too little. We eat too much, then we renounce and we say, oh, I'm going to fast. Then again we eat too much, then we fast. Always some extremes. And extremes seem to be easier for us than the golden middle. So, but Shastra recommends acting in the mode of goodness. And balance is part of the mode of sattva or mode of goodness. To be balanced. And Bhagavad Gita recommends this balance. Don't eat too much, don't eat too little, don't sleep too much, don't sleep too little. And try to be moderate. Moderation in all things is recommended even by, I think, Aristotle or Socrates, Greek philosophers, because they have recognized the value of the mode of goodness. They recognize the value of the mode of goodness. Now these verses now describe this actually preaching mission. These verses describe distributing Krishna consciousness, distributing Srila Prabhupada's books, distributing the holy name, distributing prasadam. And the way we distribute the fruit of love of Godhead is through distributing Srila Prabhupada's books, to distributing the holy name, and to distributing prasadam. But also we can say that we also are distributing the fruit of love of Godhead by the way we deal with people. If we are very kind and patient and tolerant and loving and caring, people will feel that God loves them. Mother Teresa said, if we don't show people that God loves them, how they will know it? And if we are kind to people, they will see that God is interested in them and that He loves them. So sometimes love is expressed through strictness. Sometimes we need to be strict. But don't get too attached to being strict with people, because very few people can digest it. Better to be kind 95% of the time and 5% strict if needed. I worked with one leader, strict. I worked with one leader who was attached to correcting devotees. And I said, okay, you feel it's your duty to correct, but it's only, I would say, 10% of your service. But 90% positive encouragement. And he didn't like this very much. Like parents, they think that their duty is to catch their kids doing things wrong and pointing out. And in this way they feel that they are fulfilling their responsibility. But actually the more important responsibility is positive encouragement, showing love, showing support for children. And if you have such an attitude towards your children or towards your disciples or towards people you are preaching to, then if there is a need for correction, if there is a need to tell them something that is not easy to digest, they will accept it more easily because they trust that you have their best interest at heart. They trust that you actually are interested in their welfare. So can you remember what is stated in this verse, that people become mad and intoxicated when getting in touch with Krishna consciousness? Can you remember something? Like when somebody gives somebody a book and they start to jump. Oh, I was looking for this book for so long. Or they attend a maybe Jagannath festival, they pull the cart, they get this festival atmosphere. They see devotees who are happy, they see people, so many people worshipping the Lord, and they become attracted to this, and they sometimes become really like stunned or fascinated by this. Sometimes even intoxicated people become intoxicated with chanting the holy name. They come intoxicated, but then they become intoxicated with the holy name and with prasadam. And it's contagious. Contagious? When you get infected with something, infected. Krishna consciousness is contagious. And I always say that the best preaching is happy devotee. And preaching is the greatest happiness. So the wonderful fruit of love of Godhead was distributed by Caitanya Mahaprabhu, and he showed so much affection when he was preaching. He was embracing people. Sometimes simply by embracing people, they would become ecstatic. On ISKCON website, I think Dandavats, or maybe on ISKCON News, there is a big discussion about embracing devotees. But I think the discussion is about embracing different genders. But we see that embracing is there in our culture. And one devotee was describing when he embraced Srila Prabhupada, he felt like Srila Prabhupada is so strong, so energetic, so young when he embraced him. So Lord Caitanya would embrace devotees. But he was embraced devotees of the same gender. Now, ISKCON, some devotees are complaining that actually in ISKCON devotees are embracing other, devotees from other gender. And now in South America, I heard that sometimes even sannyasis are embraced by ladies. Because this culture this kind of culture is so strong that you almost cannot avoid it. But of course you can avoid it if you are determined to avoid it. But there is a big discussion about whether it's okay or not okay, and some think, well, this is just friendly embrace. If you embrace a man or a woman, if you're a woman, man, if you're a man or woman, it's not any kind of with the intention to enjoy a certain illicit way. And and then the others say, well, it's risky, and it's not appropriate. And then we have Gurukulis who always embrace each other since they are teenagers, and then they continue embracing each other when you grow up. And then some senior devotees start to complain, why are you embracing each other here in the temple, or in front of the temple, or during the festival, or anywhere. And there is this kind of discussions. But definitely, I actually felt uncomfortable when I was embraced also by Prabhu, baby devotee. Because before, in his school, we didn't embrace each other at all for so many years. Then, I don't know, after 20 years, I met devotees who like to embrace you, because also they say their guru embraces people. But it's an embrace of the same gender. So embracing and touching is also, I would say, a language of love, or a symptom of love. Now, if we look at the 6 loving exchanges amongst devotees, it's not stated that embracing is one of them. There is prasadam, there is conversation, and there is gifts. But Lord Caitanya embraced Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. So embracing is there. So okay, even if we don't embrace, but at least we can have affection. We can have this affectionate attitude. And Lord Caitanya had this affectionate attitude. And when you have affectionate attitude, people can understand and accept the fruit of love of Godhead much more easily. Once one senior devotee, a lady, when she met me, so we offer obeisances, vanchakalpataruscha, and she said, so when I got up, she said, well, I offer you my obeisances and I embrace you within my heart. She wanted to express some affection. And so if you really want to embrace somebody, so you can embrace like that. If you want this like pure embrace, which so that you don't disturb people, but doing something inappropriate, which is not according to rules. And sometimes you cannot insist too much, because people will get so much disturbed, and the very essence is lost. The very essence is lost. Sometimes we become so attached to rules because we are afraid that we will fall down, and that others will break the rules, others will break the rules, and we will all go to hell because of this. So we are so afraid that we forget about the essence of Krishna consciousness, and the essence of Krishna consciousness is love. We forget about that, and we get too fanatical about the rules, and we become cruel, and we become cold, and we become too strict, and we become even harsh, and the essence is lost. The essence of Krishna consciousness is lost. Just like if you tell people, these books will make you happy. They say, but you are not happy. You don't look happy. I was told by one of my people I learned coaching from, a professional. He didn't hesitate to tell me. He said, Kruta, you are supposed to be a spiritual person. You are supposed to be happy, but you sound like you are always in anxiety. I mean, your voice. If you record it, listen to your voice, and then I became aware that, I am always in anxiety because of something. Then I started working on it, and just consciously choosing not to be in anxiety. So we cannot tell people be happy if we are not happy. We first have to show by our own example. And then you cannot just put an artificial smile on your face and pretend you are happy. Like Satchidananda Swami is asking us to be smiling on the stage when we have a public program, a concert. And sometimes we don't feel like smiling because we are tired or we are fried or we are overwhelmed with material desires. But still we have to do it. Because we represent Krishna and we represent the happiness of Krishna consciousness. So there is a saying, fake it until you make it. So you see, both are recommended. It's recommended to behave externally as if you're a devotee, and also to cultivate internal feeling and attitude, devotional attitude. So how we will distribute this fruit of love of Godhead in a way that people will be inspired to accept it? I think this is an important question. How we will distribute the fruit of love of Godhead in a way that people will accept it. So I think one way is that we have to look happy when we distribute it. Otherwise they will be suspicious. So what are you trying to tell me? You can keep it for later, your questions. Now it says, immediately becomes mad. Now Srila Prabhupada made some really, really bombastic statements here. So let's look at them. And when somebody sincerely tastes it, immediately becomes mad. Aha! So when someone sincerely tastes it, so we have to create an environment that people can sincerely taste it. The fruit of love of Godhead. Then they can become immediately mad. After it. And what else? They give up all bad habits. Well, we know that this is not reality. They will, but at least at that point, they don't think about bad habits, isn't it? Like if somebody tastes amazing prasadam, if somebody chants in ecstasy with devotees or dances, he forgets about, at that moment he gives up and forgets about all his bad habits. So this, I would say, this is more reality, what can happen in reality when we distribute Krishna consciousness or the fruit of love of Godhead. But we see that we are giving up our bad habits for the last 30 years. And still we are struggling. And it says here immediately. So we can say, okay, on the spot, while you are tasting, you don't think of your bad habits, you are not attached to your bad habits. But then later maybe they come back to their bad habits. So why they can do that? Because they are intoxicated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's gift. So you see, in Krishna consciousness, intoxication is allowed. But different kind of intoxication. And we also have actually a drink that intoxicates devotees. It's called Varuni. It's made of honey and what else? Yogurt. And it's really strong. I mean, you really start have your head spinning. Now, by which gift of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu people get intoxicated? Yes. But it says here, by the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. They get intoxicated by the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. The statements of Chaitanya Caritamrta are so practical that anyone can test them. And in the last sentence, Srila Prabhupada says, we are confident of the success of the distribution of the fruit of love of Godhead. How? By chanting Hare Krishna. So now I have seen something. When I started Krishna consciousness, I got a long play record, at that time, when I was younger, there was this long. Now you don't have long play records. You have it only in some second-hand shops, some old things, and you don't have this gramophone or how to call it. People don't use it. This thing with the needle. People don't use it anymore. But I used to have this, and I used to have a good equipment. And I got this record from my schoolmate that his sister got it on the streets of London. Somebody gave her this long play for free. They saw she's from Serbia. She doesn't have money. Dinar is very weak currency. So they didn't even ask her for a donation. They just gave her for free this. They gave her for free this something, and she gave it to her brother, and her brother is my schoolmate. And I got interested in Indian music, and he gave it to me, so I can listen to it. He lent it to me. He didn't give it to me. He lent it to me, and it's still there. It's called Hare Krishna Festival in Amsterdam. Hamsaduta Prabhu is singing, and also Bhaktiva Baba Swami is singing there, and I think Hamsaduta's wife is singing. There is 3-4 songs, but when I heard it, it was so beautiful. There was I think Hamsaduta Prabhu repeated 40 times Mahamantra in the Kirtan. And it was so contagious. It was like it enters under your skin. So what happened is, my brother got just operated this blind intestine in the stomach, and he was hurting. And if he would laugh, it would hurt a lot. If he would laugh, it would hurt him a lot. And then I played this record, and he was listening, and he started to laugh because it's always repeating the same thing. He says, "Why is this? What is this? Repeating the same thing. Stop it! I cannot afford to laugh. It hurts me. My stomach hurts me." But I still continued playing it. Then my father came, also from the other room, and he also started to laugh. And he said, stop it," and laughing. And I was thinking, my God, this music influences my family more than myself. So they're like becoming really strange, maybe not mad as it is said here, but they're becoming really strange by listening to this kirtan and repetition of Mahamantra. And this also got me very curious about the effects of the holy name, because I see how it influences other people, my family members, and I got curious. I also had some realizations. I also felt I'm becoming a little off the balance when I was chanting whole day. But in the beginning, I didn't understand. I didn't know that chanting is reciting. I was thinking chanting is singing. So I was singing 16 rounds. So you can imagine how long they took me. It's whole day. I was trying to complete 16 rounds by singing. And then at the end of the day, I look at the mirror and my eyes were shining. And I looked strange to myself, but I felt very good. It was a positive strangeness. So I also felt getting a little bit off balance, a little bit crazy, but in a good way. So it also increased my faith in the holy name, that this sound puts you in some other kind of energy. So maybe you also had some experiences like this in the beginning, and we can see that people also have experiences like this, and some people come and they close their eyes, yoga people maybe, and they feel some bliss, ecstasy, or they are somewhere else in another world. And sometimes at the festival people get really, really mad, even like passionate, dancing, and so we can conclude that our service is to, in fact, infect people, to spread the virus of Krishna consciousness. And once the virus is in, they're finished, sooner or later. So our duty is just to put the virus in, and then just by time it will work. It will destroy their material consciousness. So therefore, no effort goes in vain. No effort goes in vain. You never know who will read the book you have distributed. Even people throw the books, they buy the book just to get rid of you and throw it in the garbage, and somebody finds it and becomes a devotee. So you never know. Krishna has a plan for every book. Krishna has a plan for every book. So therefore, any effort to give Krishna consciousness is so precious and it's so pleasing to the Lord that you get huge spiritual credits by giving the holy name, by giving the books, by giving prasadam, and by giving attention to people. People don't forget the kindness of devotees. They also don't forget the harshness of devotees sometimes. Sometimes they forget, they forgive, but they don't forget when devotees are kind to them and patient with them and manifest all these saintly qualities. And in this way they can experience Krishna's mercy. So thank you very much for listening. And do you have any questions or comments?
Yes, sir. You said that we have to be 95% kind. Now, I also experienced probably that, often people take kindness for slackness, and then it results that, for example, if my parents would have been always kind to me, then I would always do what I wanted to do, and I would have spoiled myself completely. But they also used to correct me and keep me in discipline. So, but this percentage was like 95%. So, isn't it too much, Prabhuji? Because I also see, Prabhuji, forgive me, Prabhu, often, but many devotees' children's Prabhuji. So, they're not so much inclined towards Krishna consciousness so seriously. But I don't know what's the reason. Is it because parents are great Vaishnavas and they're like very kind to them and allowing them to do what they want to do, or how is it going?
I think these are two different things. One is the percentage of kindness versus percentage of strictness, and another is devotee children. Devotee children is a big topic.
Okay.
So it's a huge discussion. But regarding percentage, I think you are raising an important point that according to a person who is in front of you, there has to be a balance. So sometimes someone requires maybe more strictness and it's good for them, and maybe they don't like it now, but maybe they later will appreciate it. I mean, I had a similar thing in my life. If my father wasn't a little strict with me, I would never leave home and join the temple. So one of the reasons I left is because I was frustrated at home, because he would get on my case. And later he apologized when I was after 40 or something. And I told him, no, I'm grateful to you. He apologized. He said, when you were studying, I was pushing you and waking you up. So he would wake me up at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock to study, which is for ordinary people, it's very early. And I would get up humbly, and when he goes back to sleep, I read Science of Self-Realization. So I was happy to read in the morning, but not textbooks from the university. I was very stubborn, so he couldn't push me with his strictness. But even if he was kind, I would just do what I want. So, yes, according to person, we can balance this strictness and kindness. And kindness doesn't always mean it's Krishna conscious. Like Arjuna wanted to be kind, and Krishna said, "No, I kill them all." That's Krishna conscious. So there has to be a balance. People think that spiritual means always soft, but actually it's not true. But it's called, you heard about the phrase tough love? No? Tough love. It means you are strict with love. You're strict with love, and it's good for the person. Sometimes they don't like it, they object, but later if they are sincere, they will appreciate your strictness. But if you are strict with, anger and strict in the mode of ignorance, then it destroys everything. Angry in the mode of ignorance. And regarding devotee children, it depends. It depends how they were conceived. It depends which soul has come as a child of a devotee. Because sometimes devotees conceive children in passion and they don't get like a high quality soul. So you cannot force them just because they are devotee children. You cannot push them too much. Even you try, but then they hate Krishna consciousness if you push them too much. So you have to see, according to a child. And you should always deal with the free will. To try to fan the spark of anybody, whether it's a high quality soul or not, try to fan the spark of Krishna consciousness. Try to fan the free will of that person. Prabhupada's father would say he would apologize to him for having to be strict with him. Prabhupada once wanted 2 revolvers, and he was rolling on the road because he was trying to get it by crying. But I think his father didn't buy him at that time. But usually he would always fulfill what he wants, everything. But at that time he fulfilled his father's duty to be strict. He didn't buy him 2 revolvers, 2 pistols. But I think he apologized sometimes to him. He said, "Sorry, I have to correct you now." He was aware that Prabhupada is a very special, great soul. So sometimes we can apologize to our children. "Sorry, I have to be strict with you now." And they maybe don't like it at the moment, but later they will appreciate it. So it's a question of using your intelligence and using your intuition and being guided by the Lord when to be strict and when to be soft. Okay? Yes? No? Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Can you untie this? Untie it.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a very good arrangement. I like it.